Thank you, Keen, for sponsoring today's video. Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the pumpkin patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Chloe Taylor, and on this channel I believe that we have one of the most cozy, vibey, autumnal corners of the internet. So if you like my style, you like the way that I read, and you gain something from listening to this pick a card, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and become a member of the pumpkin patch to get more readings from me every single week. Today, my beautiful pumpkins, I'm so excited to tell all of y'all that we are sponsored by Keen. Y'all know that Keen is one of my favorite companies to work with. I use them myself, and I'm always delighted when they want to work with us again. So thank you so much, Keen. If y'all don't know what Keen is an online service that gets you in contact with vetted psychics that can help you answer a multitude of life's questions. What I love about them the most is that you can literally contact anyone at any time. So it could be like 3 in the morning and you're like, oh my goodness, I have this burning question, and you can get in contact with a psychic. So I love Keen for that. My own personal experience with Keen, and probably one of my most treasured stories, is back in 2000, and I believe it was 2021. It might have even been late 2020. I think it was 2021. But my favorite story with working with Keen was one time I connected with a psychic there, and I was really confused about where I was going to be moving in my life next. And not only did this psychic tell me that I would be moving to Washington State and that would be the best place for me, which I did end up doing, and Washington State was not on my radar at the time. I originally was thinking like somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, but it wasn't Washington specifically. So that, and when I asked for direction, because I was very confused at the time, they brought up holistic healing. And at the time I was like, no. I do not want to get into holistic healing. Like, I want to say they said holistic healing and something about like homeopathic remedies and stuff. Like, they'd said more than just that. But tell me why not even like 4 or 5 months ago, I actually got very interested in holistic healing, and I'm now working towards enrolling in an actual like accredited school that can help me learn that more and in like more depth for myself. So true things, and I am honestly in disbelief. I remember reflecting on like journal entries from that time and being like, what the heck? They were so right, and I did not want to believe them at the time. And yeah, blew my mind out of the water. And it was just an overall really great experience. I loved it. So definitely check them out. Right now, if you use my link, which is trykeen.com/KhloeTarot, if you're new, you get your first 10 minutes for only $1.99. So definitely make sure that you click it, check it out, especially if you've never been there before, because that is like a smoking deal. Also, I always like to let y'all know that Keen is just a super easy service to even use. I always remind y'all that I am a lazy Taurus. I will do everything from bed if I have the opportunity, and you can connect with Keen both on your computer or on mobile, and it's a really easy process. There's a questionnaire that you're led through to help you get in contact with the best psychic for you, and they literally can answer an array of questions, anything from like relationships, career. Mine was moving and like future life projections. You can ask about purpose. And honestly, like I said, all around amazing service. Thank you so much, Keen, once again. And I want to encourage y'all to definitely click my link down below, check it out, and let's get into this reading, friends. All right, so y'all already know the drill. The orange rose here with the Gentle Heart Tarot is going to be for pile number 1. The pile number 2 is going to be with the red rose, and I want to say that this is like the Moon Goddess Tarot or the Moon Tarot. And then pile number 3, you have the yellow rose, which is the Pastel Journey Tarot. So all beautiful decks, all great imagery. But I also wanted to point out to those of you that just maybe aren't aware, if this helps you choose, you can also like look down below, look at where like that reading is timestamped, etc., to see basically like what emoji is there or something. Sometimes I'll use emojis for that, and that helps y'all choose, or if your lucky number is in the timestamp, all of that. But orange roses, this is just my personal opinion. I don't know anything about flower facts. I want to say these two I know for sure. Orange roses, I've actually never been given a true definition for, like what they stand for, but here's my hot take. If red roses mean love and romance, and yellow roses are for friendship, then to me, orange roses, my personal favorites, are a combination of the two. Orange roses are my favorite because red and yellow together make orange, and in my personal opinion, you cannot have true love and romance without friendship. Like my partner in real life is my best friend, and we had a friendship before we ever had romance. So now this is not a romance reading necessarily. I mean, it could come out in these piles. I just wanted to point that out in case that helps you choose. But I'm going to go ahead and turn up a little bit of meditation music for you, give you some time to choose between these different decks, and then we're going to get into what is that urgent message that Spirit really wants you to hear right now. All right, pile number 1, if you chose the orange rose, my personal favorites, flower of all time, this is going to be for you. So we're using the Gentle Heart Tarot. I also have some oracle cards for you that we'll be taking a look at as well. We're just going to get started first. Right with this Gentle Heart Tarot, we're going to see what is the urgent message, Spirit, that you have for pile number... Ooh, okay. We're starting out with a little bit of sass. We had a couple cards fall out of the deck. Let me just set this down here, and let's see what we get here. So we have, oh, I love this energy. So we have the Fool for you. It looks like we have the Fool, and the Fool right away as an urgent message. I feel like this is coming to remind you that it's okay to go through life without a plan 24/7. I get the sense that you're somebody that is very much a planner. You like to get down to the nitty-gritty details of everything. And Spirit is saying that you might be feeling pulled in multiple directions right now, and it's important that you just follow your joy. Follow what is lighting you up. This is especially true if in human design you are a generator or a manifesting generator. If you don't know what human design is, you can get a free chart. I think you just have to like Google it. You can get a free chart online. But I know just from personal experience, I'm a generator. Following what lights you up really will be the key to your happiness and your success. And I really get the sense that Spirit is saying that many of you might fear this energy of wanting to walk down a certain path without a plan. But let's keep going. We also have the Empress, which the Empress tells me that you are somebody that you are harnessing a brand new idea. You might even feel really enthralled with life right now, and you have something new that is blossoming in your life. Not only is it taking a lot of creativity for you to bring it together, but it is something that is very much an authentic expression of who you are. And this is awesome. Spirit is actually like clapping for your efforts. Like I can literally see your spiritual team and ancestors. I'm seeing like a vision of people before you that have passed already clapping for you and being like, yes, this is like, you're here because you are supposed to keep going with this authentic expression. And this is something that maybe even in your own family line, you have not witnessed. Like maybe there was an expectation of you or someone that you had to become, but you're actually supposed to move through life a little bit more free flowing and really being open to the divine feminine. Now, this doesn't mean that you identify as a woman. You can identify however and still be in alignment with divine feminine energy, because divine feminine energy is all about receiving and being in the flow of life versus forcing or making things happen. Now, there's, of course, is always going to be a time for divine action. We all need that divine masculine energy, but I think that originally is really maybe what you built your life on. And honestly, it's very common. Like, don't beat yourself up for it. It's very common to build your life on that because it's often what is being presented to us currently. But you are actually on the precipice of balancing your energy more by allowing this. So let's go ahead and see what else we have for you. We're just going to go ahead and put this down here. And I'm just going to draw straight from the top of that deck and see. So we also have for you, it looks like the Four of Diamonds. So let me show that one to you. We have the Four of Diamonds here. And the Four of Diamonds, I feel like this comes as more of a caution to you that as you build this new thing, be it a career, be it a creative passion, it's really important that you do keep it more private and to yourself, but it's also very important that you do not allow yourself to become greedy. And this is just like, basically when you achieve success, like all rising tides float all ships, basically. There is room for everybody at the top. There is room for everybody to make money in your niche. There is room for you to achieve whatever level of abundance you desire to have. But Spirit is also reminding you in that, make room for your abundance to flow effortlessly. Don't be afraid to give. My rule of thumb when it comes to giving is that everything always comes back to me multiplied times 3, no matter what. And that literally is the truth. Every single time I spend money or give it away, it's like I can't give it away fast enough. It comes back multiplied every time. And you just have to decide how you want to move in flow with money. I'm just getting this notion from Spirit that like money is something that maybe is a hard subject for you in this area. And you're a little bit afraid. Like you're afraid that this new adventure, this new thing like won't make money, or there's definitely like a block around money. And the thing I also want to say, just some advice from me to you, not necessarily from Spirit, but if that's something that you really struggle with in life, just period right now, I always recommend the book, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. I will link it down below for you. This book is just like amazing. It literally changed the way that I think about money, and it's changed my whole life. Truly. I went from like being in poverty to making a 5-figure income like every single month. So just, check it out. It might be something that helps you, but I really get the sense that there is some blocks around money that need to be worked through. Now we also have for you the King of Swords. So this tells me that you also really have a knack for communication. You're maybe really good at writing or speaking or articulating yourself in some way. You're very intelligent. And Spirit is telling you to use that to your benefit because you have been given a gift to be highly intellectual. You maybe are somebody that even like has a degree or like went to school for something. You are highly intellectual, and that is going to serve the future version of yourself. And Spirit is saying to utilize that to communicate with the world at large, whether it's like running a blog or writing a book or even just like making social media posts and using your voice. Your voice is very important for what you are embarking on. And then we also have the Three of Cups. And I love this because I feel like this is about having the right support around you. You definitely have, oh my gosh, I just heard this too. Spirit is saying, see how there's an apple right here, but it's in the clouds. Do you notice that? There's an apple in the clouds. Spirit is saying that for you, you know how there's that saying of like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? For you, the apple actually is so far from the tree, it's in the clouds. And like you are dreaming and scheming of different things that are not in alignment with what your family had a vision for you of. But Spirit is also saying that the right people are in those clouds with you. Like there are people that have come before you and done what you're trying to do. And that doesn't mean that there's not room for you. In fact, you're going to be welcomed with open arms. It's like you are all drinking from the same well, and the people around you have been placed in your life for a reason because you were supposed to learn from these people. So if there's anybody in your life that is like trying to do what you are wanting to go and do right now, Spirit is saying to gravitate towards those people and learn from them. And you might also find that your knowledge also feeds them. Like you're learning things too that are going to help them. And it's like this beautiful thing. It's also very celebratory. The Three of Cups is like literally having drinks with your girlfriends or guy friends or whoever, those, them, they, in between, whoever. It's like literally celebrating with people that want to celebrate you. So I love that. I feel like as an urgent message, this is really like a call to action to basically let this new era of your life unfold and do so unapologetically. But remember that you need to continue to surround yourself by the right people and continue to trust yourself and your intuition and to let this new thing grow. So next we're going to take a look at some oracle cards for you. Oh my gosh, I literally just pulled them out of the deck just from the top and I am so excited. So we have for you, first and foremost, lunar eclipse change. Oh my gosh. I need you to understand, if you're seeing this video when it is being posted, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio coming up on May 15th. Now, this reading is timeless, so whenever you come across it, it is the right time for you to hear it. But those of you that are watching it when it's current, the lunar eclipse is going to be a pivotal moment for you. You might even have a major Scorpio placement in your chart. This is going to be sun, moon, rising, north or south node. I would say also Mars and Venus I would consider to be very significant placements, as well as rising, sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, and the north and south node. That would be all significant to me if you have Scorpio in any of those, especially sun, moon, and risings, and north or south nodes. But with this lunar eclipse, things are changing for you. You are literally going to be either launching something, changing something, making something. It might even just be the changing of your emotions around something in so much that you're able to break free from an old paradigm and start a new one, because that's what eclipses do. They come around to help us break out of old patterns and move into new ways of being. And for some of us, eclipses really can just be like a blip if they're not eclipses that impact us so specifically in your own like natal chart. And that is true. That can happen. But most people, wherever Scorpio is highlighting in your birth chart, this is what is going to impact you. And I'm always going to recommend to you, I have a video that I put out this year. I also have May readings that went out recently on my channel. It was like 2 videos back that I go over this slightly again with tarot cards as well. And both of those videos will be beneficial to you right now to understand where Scorpio is in your charts, especially the video that I did on the North and South node, because the South node is in Scorpio right now, and that is what is going to be impacting your chart. So look to that, see where Scorpio is in your charts. You'll know from that video, if you follow your rising signs reading, you'll know exactly what to look for. If you want like something specific, I'm just telling you to go check that video out. I will make sure that my editor cards it in here for you too, so you can have that after your reading. So we have lunar eclipse change. We have sun spirit. This is crazy. You also could be a Scorpio sun, because that is where that lunar eclipse is coming, and Scorpio sun. And it's really funny because I have a friend that's a Scorpio sun, and I'm not going to name any names because I think that's rude. But I mean, I know a lot of Scorpio suns, but I have one in my life specifically that I feel like this reading is really for. And I'm going to laugh if she texts me and is like, yo, that reading was totally mine. But especially if you're a Scorpio sun, I feel like this is like the sun literally shining its rays upon you. You literally have sun and moon energy, which is what the eclipse does. It is the sun and moon like overlapping each other in the sky in such a way that it is either a new moon eclipse or a full moon eclipse. And so the sun is also impacting you. And the sun, to me, is all about like joy and having like heavenly rays upon you and new beginnings, fresh starts, having your garden be like nourished, right? If your life is a garden, what does the sun do? It nourishes that garden. So love that. Then we have the 5th house of creativity. So the 5th house of creativity, this is going to be the house of Leo. And I like seeing this, especially for the reading that we've pulled out so far, because I feel like this is a very creative path that you're on right now, especially with the Empress coming out. The Empress is also a creative card. I mean, even if you looked originally at that Empress card back there, she has a wand floating to one side of her because wands signify creativity. And the 5th house is also about childlike joy and play and getting back to what you loved as a child so that you can relish in that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are going to be some childhood habits that just aren't really here to serve you as an adult. And it's up to you to figure out which ones are the ones that have a positive impact and which things maybe just aren't serving you. But ultimately, getting in touch with your joy is really going to help you. There's a lot of fire energy coming through for you because the sun coming through and the 5th house of Leo, which Leo is another fire sign. So you also just might have a Leo around you that helps you to really get back into the joyful side of life after a period of not experiencing a lot of that. This really is a turning point for you, pile number 1. I really feel like everything in your life is about to pick up dramatic speed. Then we also have for you, oh my gosh, your reading, I'm in love. So you also have the Universe card. And you also have the Wildling. So the Universe card tells me that literally the universe, you're finally starting to see the synchronicities in the universe. You're finally starting to feel like maybe you have believed in manifestation or you have believed that things could be different, but you never really saw the return. Like maybe you've asked spirit for a sign or something like that, and you've never really seen the true return to believe it. This is where spirit is going to come in and make you a complete believer because things are starting to add up in your favor. And I feel like with this lunar eclipse, this again is where you're going to start to see it. All of the threads of your past that have been holding you back are going to be cut, and it's going to be for your benefit. Like you are not going to be feeling super weighed down, super heavy or hurting anymore. You are actually going to be feeling so much relief with this lunar eclipse. It's going to change you for the better. And With the wildling, this is a call from spirit to get back in touch with your most basic primal self. So, excuse me, this is going to be getting in touch with nature, getting in touch with what kind of makes you feel more wild and carefree. And I feel like the fifth house of creativity also speaks to that, but the wildling is about not paying homage to society anymore and starting to pay more homage to yourself and reinventing what success looks like to you, what kind of future you want to project onto the world. Because remember, we are all co-creating with this universe all the time. So if we have really strong values of what we want to see in the world and we keep projecting them out, the universe has no option but to comply. And that is what you're being asked to do, is to get in touch with that primal state, that wild, carefree self, and decide for yourself what your core values are, what you value the most, and what you can start projecting out, because you're going to start to see it. And then we do have a couple of cards from it's like one of my favorite decks to use. We have a couple of cards from the Threads of Fate Empyrean deck. I always link all the decks I use down below if y'all want to get them for yourself. Also, this is not sponsored by Threads of Fate. We're sponsored by Keen today, but they do send me cards, or they did send me cards, and so I just love them so freaking much. Like, even before that, like this deck that I'm about to show you, I actually purchased myself. They did not send it to me, but like they have sent me cards in the past, and their customer service is so wonderful. Like, they are just amazing. I didn't ask for anything. They just did. So I'm always like so excited when we use their decks. This deck technically is also a Threads of Fate deck, but first and foremost, we have the card Flow for you. See if we can get the camera to focus on this. Okay, so these cards are cool because they're holographic and they change. But we have the card Flow, and we also have the card of Ecstasy. So I'm actually going to read these to you directly from the book because I feel like they just give the best descriptors over like anything over I could say. So with Flow, it says, it's now becoming a luxury to pick up the paintbrush only when you want to begin writing out of inspiration, to design when you feel like it, crunch numbers when you're feeling ready to tackle a puzzle. We live within the constraints of production, which has never been friendly to flow. Flow is magic. It's the siren song, rain after a drought. It's the meteor flashing through the night sky. It's not meant to be caught, bought, sold, or manufactured into mushroom blends of Silicon Valley. Flow is alignment. It's feeling so in tune with what you're doing, whether that's talking to a person or working on a project, that you're absolutely fully in the present. It's when we abandon the grit and discipline and deadlines that we can feel the heartbeat of the moment. We can move with it and make it work with us. The medicine of flow is learning to embrace the practice of finding the friction and chipping away at it little by little, rather than taking a sledgehammer to it, insisting it get done. It's deciding to walk forward with an open heart and tapping into the spirit of what you're working on, asking what it needs from you. So I feel like in terms of what you're working on right now, it's very important for you to stay in alignment with flow. And that is just going to be like anything that you're creating, spirit is going to demand that of you, because it's important for you, again, to project the reality onto the world that you want to see. You cannot keep working in a fashion that depletes you, because that is not the reality that you want for the world. And so in order for this to work for you, what you're doing right now, you are going to have to come to a place where flow is the only option, and like design your work around that, basically. Then we have for you the card of Ecstasy. So pretty. And it says, most of us have learned how to weather the storm, to navigate choppy water, to self-heal after heartbreak. But have you given in to ecstasy? Life teaches us to build fortresses around our hearts. It is our job to split them open so light can get through. So often we fight this. We give in to the cynicism, but joy is a practice. It is identifying the moments that feel magical and then zooming in on them, expanding them, getting them to last just a bit longer. Joy is not just a break from the barrage of heaviness. It is the whole point of living. If we can't walk into that space open and vulnerable, knowing that eventually we will get bruised again, we're missing out on life. Ecstasy is not about balancing the scales of joy and suffering. It is about giving into the wild abandon, completely unadulterated. It is confronting all that tries to keep you small, fearful, and uncertain. It is catching life on the tip of your tongue as it falls from the sky like snow. Moments will melt away, but let them leave an imprint. So honestly, I feel like pile number one, if joy has been missing from your life, that's what you're coming to. It's coming back. You're getting joy back in your life. Ecstasy is coming. Flow is coming. Creativity is blossoming. You are awakening to a new version of yourself. You've been in the cocoon for a long time, and it's finally time for you to fly. So, thank you so very much for tuning in. I hope this reading helped you out, resonated with you. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Don't forget to check out Keen at my link, trykeen.com/KhloeTarot. If you're a new Keen customer, you do get those first 10 minutes for only $1.99. Thank you so much to Keen for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to support me as a creator anywhere else online, I do have my Patreon available to you, where we do weekly energy readings, exclusive pick-a-cards. We recently started doing a book club, and it's been a really good time. So definitely come and check it out. It supports me as a creator to keep doing what I do. I would love to have you there. We're reading currently a book based in psychology. Next month, we're reading more of a poetry style book. So definitely come and join us. I'm so excited to have such like an intimate, beautiful group of people to read through books with. And if you would like to support me in other ways, I do have my wish list linked down below. No pressure. My birthday is coming up for those of you that have asked. Actually, it's this week. My birthday is on Saturday, May 14th. I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below if you'd like to tip me for my readings. Again, zero expectation, but certainly always appreciated. And until next time, Pumpkin, thank you so, so much. I will catch you in the next one. All right, pile number two, if you chose the red rose, this is going to be your reading, your urgent message from spirits. We're just going to give this deck a little shuffle, and then we're going to see what is coming up for you. So, I'm not going to lie, pile number one was a very enthralling reading, so I'm eager to say, oh, did you see those cards just jump? Spirit is speaking. Spirit, what message do you have for us for pile number two? What does pile number two need to hear? Let's see. Come on. There we go. All right. We are just going to pull straight from the top here. I'm going to start with just about 3 cards. We may pull more if we feel that we need them. But to get us started here, we do have the King of Swords, and actually pile number one had the King of Swords as well. The only reason I bring that up is because the readings might be linked. So if you were having a hard time choosing between 1 and 2, this might be a sign that you need to go back and listen to both. But the King of Swords is here to remind you that your voice is powerful. The King of Swords is all about executing plans, ideas, and even creativity through the means of communication. So this could be through writing, through singing, through speaking, even just like public speaking or speaking in general, just talking, having phone conversations or in-person conversations. But Spirit is saying there is something about your voice at this time that is really important. So let's keep going. We have the 10 of Swords. So I'm wondering if you have been feeling overwhelmed, because there is definitely, oh, I see. Okay. I'm feeling like with the King of Swords and the 10 of Swords, Spirit is ultimately trying to say that you have been sorry about that. You have been feeling, Mercury really is in the shadow period right now. You have been feeling very overwhelmed and overstimulated, because the King of Swords also, it corresponds to our mental intellect. So you have been feeling very overstimulated, and this might be a sign that you need to take a little break and let whatever is trying to crash in your life, like whatever wave is trying to crash in your life right now, crash. This is something that happens when we do not allow ourselves to regulate our nervous systems, and we sit in this really heightened state for a long period of time. Now, I do want to remind those of you that are tuning into this reading, I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I cannot give health guidance in that way. However, much of my own personal time is spent studying the realm of psychology because it is a realm that I'm fascinated by. So we often get into the psychological realm, but just know that if you are looking for help in that regard, I am not a licensed therapist. You would have to seek that out. But I feel like with this 10 of Swords, I also want to remind you that if you've been sitting in a very hypervigilant state, just meaning that your awareness has been super heightened to the point that you can't sink into the present moment, Spirit is ultimately saying that it's time to recognize that and to let whatever is coming come. Let whatever is trying to swallow you, swallow you. And I know that that can be a very scary thing to do. Trust me, I have been there. Even in the realm of mental health, like last year, I talk about it a ton on my podcast, Divine Authenticity, shameless self-plug, links for that down below. I went through a mental health crisis last year where I dealt with panic attack after panic attack after panic attack. And that was very difficult to hear that, like, you need to let the wave crash instead of sitting in the heightened state. And granted, there's so much more complexity to even panic disorder. I'm not trying to simplify that. If any of you deal with that, I'm not saying that it's as easy as just letting go and letting whatever is coming wash over you. Sometimes it can take more in-depth work than that. But some of you that are dealing with a lot, you need to just let whatever is coming come so that you can move forward, because you've been letting your emotions sit in a very heightened state, or let yourself sit in this overstimulated place, and you haven't allowed yourself to basically come to a place of even being able to conceptualize peace. And Spirit wants you to know that you have the power to find peace in your life again. The sun will rise again. That is the promise of the 10 of Swords, is if you feel like the sun is setting on your life, it's happening so that the sun can rise again. And you are worthy of having that. Now, we also have the 9 of Pentacles. See, the 9 of Pentacles literally is a card that talks about peace in particular, because the 9 of Pentacles is all about having enough abundance to basically be able to live a life of leisure, to put your life in stillness mode, to put yourself in the divine flow of the universe, and to know that nothing terrible is going to come and like basically smite you or strike you down. That whatever is trying to come, let it, because it's actually going to be a blessing of peace once you let it wash over you. And I always like to remind those of you that, especially when it comes to emotions, I don't know why Spirit is asking me to talk about this so much, because we don't even have any cup cards here, but Spirit is urging me to talk about emotions with you. And when it comes to your emotions, please remember that more often than not, your hardest emotion only needs to be felt at its highest point for 90 seconds. After those 90 seconds, it will begin to dissipate. And people will spend lifetimes running from that difficult emotion, because many of us have not been taught how to come back down and how to regulate ourselves. And I promise you, even from my own perspective as a living, breathing person that has been through that, you can come back out the other side. And if you just need someone right now to tell you that it's going to be okay, this is me telling you that it's going to be okay, that you can find peace from even the greatest catastrophe in your life. You can come back home to yourself, and you're allowed to, and your body is designed to bring you back. So Spirit is saying that you are well on your way to being in a state of such abundance, and not just an abundance of money, which that is part of it, not just an abundance of money, but truly an abundance of living. that you are going to be able to have more like pleasure and leisure time at your disposal, which maybe is something that you have just been like praying and wishing for. We're going to take a couple more cards from this deck. So we also have for you, this is why we had to talk about the emotions. So we have the Nine of Swords, and if any of y'all are familiar with tarot, you know that the Nine of Swords is the worry, often described as the anxiety card, or just causing us a lot of mental peril. It's us cycling through our own thoughts, so much so that we cannot see grander visions of the future because we are so caught up in the past. Sometimes we are also caught up in the future. It can go either way, but often we can't see a way where good things can come to us because we're very caught up in all of the negative things that could happen. And Spirit is saying, in order to dissipate this, you have to let it out of you. You can't, this is a very mentally stimulating reading because we have 10 of Swords, King of Swords, 9 of Swords. Swords, again, correspond to that mental intellect. Spirit is reminding you that you can find peace among this. You don't have to remain prisoner to your mind for the rest of your life. And what you're experiencing right now, you are not alone. There are other people in the world that have experienced what you've experienced, and you're not being told this because your problems are insignificant. They're telling you this because they want you to know that you're not alone, that your problems aren't so out there and over the top that nobody has ever healed from them. And Spirit is reminding you that it is through the emotions, which emotions are just energy in motion, that is the route to the other side. You need to let yourself cry. Especially like this card has the moon in it. The moon is all about our emotions. So it's our intellect versus the emotion. And some of y'all just don't let yourselves cry about things. And it's okay to let those emotions out, even if you have been taught for a lifetime that that is not okay. It is okay. And you don't have to do it with anybody else if that feels uncomfortable. I would always encourage, if you feel like you need more support, to always go and seek that. But it's okay to let that out. You don't have to hold it inside of you because it's hurting you to hold it. It's like literally holding on to a hot coal and just letting it burn you instead of dropping it. Then we have the 10 of Pentacles. So basically, once you move through this and you allow these hard emotions to work through you, you're promised the 10 of Pentacles, which literally is the card, once again, of, oh my gosh, so you got 10 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. You literally are being given this, like, when you work through the mental and emotional aspects of what you've been dealing with, this is what you're promised. It's joy. It's financial security and abundance. It's the 10 of Pentacles to me also talks about lineage and family to some degree. It's not quite the same as the 10 of Cups, but the 10 of Pentacles does say like having like enough money for a lineage, having money and security to the point that you're able to take care of the people that you love. And if you've been struggling with, like, maybe you've been spiraling in survival mode because there has been a lack of funds or a lack of abundance, Spirit is saying that when you start to let go of these things, basically you need to make room in your mental clutter to have more material in the current reality. That is what needs to shift. And changing this for yourself needs to become the number one priority so that you can move forward. That is ultimately what is coming through. And also, I do think there is still something here for some of you that are very like into the realm of communication. Channel this energy into something creative. Channel this energy. It's very intense energy. Red roses, very intense. It's very intense energy. And Spirit is there to remind you that you can move into a place of more ease. You just have to be willing to basically stare your shadow directly in the face. And that can be scary, but you're strong. You are strong enough to hold your own shadow, basically. So let's go ahead and look at some astrology cards for this reading. Ooh, I'm seeing some good stuff. Okay. So First and foremost, I just pulled from the top of this deck. First and foremost, we do have the Void of Course Moon, which is missing. So you need to drop off the face of the earth for a little bit. And that doesn't mean literally try to be like leaving planet Earth. But just figuratively speaking, especially when it comes to your social connections, you need to drop off the face of the earth for a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't talk to people that you still really trust, but you have been filling everybody else's cup. You maybe are somebody that is constantly using like even your social media presence, if you have one, to try to inspire other people, which is not a bad thing, but you need to stop trying to impress other people with what you're healing with. You need to just literally give all of that energy that you want to give to everyone to yourself. That is like your downfall right now, especially because we have all these sword cards, which also can lead to talking about the internet a little bit. Especially the King of Swords and the 10, actually. Spirit is saying that might be very specific for just like a couple of you, but stop trying to inspire everybody right now with your healing journey because it's making you not feel like you can work on yourself. You feel like you always have to come to social media with a positive update about your healing, and you don't. Literally, that's something that they tell. Now, I'm not saying any of you are struggling with addiction, but that's something that they tell to addicts is that relapse is part of the healing process. Like, not that you should expect your own downfall, but that is part of the healing process. And so healing is not this linear thing. You're not just going to go in this straight upward trajectory. It's honestly going to be this graph that kind of goes up and down. You might take 5 steps forward, 3 steps back, and that might happen several times. And that's okay. You're still making forward progress, but you need to come to a place where you are pouring every ounce of yourself back into yourself. Stop filling everyone else's cups. You need to be concerned with your own cup. I know that was a little bit pointed, but that was literally directly out of Spirit's mouth. Then we have Sagittarius IC, and this is all about picking up more knowledge. So let's say you want to know more about healing and healing modalities. What is something that interests you? Recently, I picked up a course in nervous system regulation. Even though I know a lot about nervous system regulation and dysregulation, I wanted somebody else that knew more, that has like a professional course on it to teach me about that. So I picked up that course so I could learn more. And Sagittarius is all about being knowledge seeking. You can also like even just reading a book. I think some of y'all really like, I'm seeing a library. Spirit is showing me a library. Some of y'all really discount how much a book can actually change your life. You can literally spend one weekend reading a book and have your perspective completely shifted and change your entire life. And you have to open yourself up to that. This is what I mean by not giving anybody else your energy, but giving it to yourself. Now, obviously, if you have pets, if you have kids, like you're going to have to spread your energy to other people. I'm just saying, especially when it comes to being online or giving any more of yourself than you absolutely have to, stop. Give to yourself, learn for yourself, give yourself the time and attention that you deserve, and stop trying to make a show of your healing journey. I don't know why that's coming through so strong, but some of y'all literally are making a show of it, and you don't need to. You don't need to go forward and prove to everybody that you're going to get better or feel better. You only need to give it to yourself, and that is honestly what is keeping you stuck. Is you're trying to put too much of yourself out there when you're not ready. And you don't have to do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that showing other people healing journeys can't be beneficial. But what I am saying is this is what has kept you in a loop. This is what has kept you away from your own path, is you keep trying to have progress to show other people. And that's not what your healing journey is about. It's literally about finding ways to love yourself and to meet yourself where you are. Your healing journey is for you. And it's time that you start upping the knowledge that you can receive in that realm. I also feel like this is about getting like very philosophical. If y'all need any recommendations, I recently from my therapist, the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I think is his name. Viktor something Frankl. Great book. I literally read it in an afternoon, like spent literally 4 hours of an afternoon reading it. It was a great book, especially if any of y'all struggle with existentialism. Really great read. So great that I almost feel like I could go back and probably read it again. But if any of y'all are looking to get philosophical, just throwing that out there. Then we also have for you Jupiter return benefits. So Jupiter, for any of you that are astrology buffs, even if you're not, I think you're still about to learn something here. We have Jupiter moving into Aries on May 10th this month. And it's going to be there for quite some time. Jupiter moves signs about once per year. And every time you go through a Jupiter return, which Jupiter returns to basically the sign that it was in when you were born, roughly every 12 years. That's not quite exact, but right now it's moving into Aries. Then it will be in Taurus, then in Gemini, then in Cancer, then in Leo. And it's going to like go through all the signs like it always does as it continues to move. But some of you might have natally Jupiter in Aries, and you're about to experience a huge uptick in expansion. And that's why Sagittarius is coming up for you, because Jupiter also rules Sagittarius. It's Sagittarius's ruling planet. But Spirit is telling you your life really is about to get so much better. Even if you don't natally have Jupiter in Aries, this could also be that you have like a fire sign. This could be that you have a fire sign Jupiter. So this could be a Sagittarius Jupiter or even a Leo Jupiter would benefit from this. And it's a time period where you are going to be expanding so much at such a rapid rate that it is going to change you in some way and help you to up-level yourself and to see things from a new perspective. So much so that you come out the other side a different person because you change so much. And also Jupiter is also daddy abundance. Like Jupiter brings abundance, expansion, growth. Like I mean, I'm Jupiter ruled as a Sagittarius rising. I might be biased. I love Jupiter. I feel like Jupiter always comes through my life to bless me in new and interesting ways. But I'm really feeling like you are about to have some blessings seriously bestowed upon you. So life has been hard for you, but that is changing. It might even be changing at this lunar eclipse on May 15th that we're about to have, especially because you got a moon card that is like a full moon. In any case, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these Threads of Fate cards now. We have for you the card of Ancestors, and this card comes to remind you that connecting with your ancestors is extremely important and something that you should do if you feel called to it. Ancestor work is some of the most gratifying work you will ever do when you start to connect with where you came from. One of the coolest things that I recently learned is we are so connected to our ancestral line that if you think about it, you have existed inside of your own grandmother, because your mother would have been inside of your grandmother, and your mother's eggs are already developed in them when they are born. So your grandmother would have carried you in her womb technically. And isn't that crazy to consider that that is actually how linked we are? We've literally been inside of our grandmothers. I also think it's really crazy that think about how many people had to serendipitously meet and like basically get together and create you. Like how many times over lifetimes that has had to happen to come all the way down to the line that you are in. And it just makes you really, it makes you wonder, like it to me, like if you don't believe in magic, that's the shit that makes me believe in magic. But this is a call straight from spirit saying that you do have ancestors that are your spirit guides and they want to connect with you. So if this card is speaking to you, light a candle at your altar space for your ancestors. Ask for them to come into your life and to be a part of it and to guide you, protect you, assist you. Or if you're looking for a specific answer in your life, they can help you with that. Then we also have for you, get creative. Remember how I told you earlier in the reading that you need to channel your energy into something? Or I think I started to say it, channel this energy into something for yourself, not your social media presence, not because you need to answer to somebody else. This could literally be a painting that you don't show the world, writings that you don't show the world. This is about getting creative for yourself. And maybe somewhere down the line, you will eventually share that if you feel called to. But right now, this is about getting creative for yourself. And we have a few more cards that these ones, I love reading from the Empyrean deck. Y'all already know. It's one of my favorites. The cards are really cool. They shift and change. But I'm going to be reading these ones directly from the book because I just think they're too cool to not use the book. So this card is Needle. And then you also got the card Channel. I'm wondering if maybe you have anybody in your ancestral line that is a channeler, and that's why you would get that card. But we're going to go ahead and read from the book, basically just the book that came with the cards, what these are about. So Needle says, let your intuition steer you. Needle asks for precision. There's always a time to go with the flow. To explore opportunities to say yes. But this is not it. Whether you are just beginning or have just journeyed for some time, it's time to revisit the origin point. Oh my gosh. And you got an ancestor card? That's crazy. Life has a way of pushing us off course sometimes, which is why we want to have a plan. And when we do get off course, we must check back to right our way. Like ships at sea, if we begin our journey just 1 degree off, we will end up hundreds of miles away from our desired destination. This is a moment for intention and exactness. Whether you have a blank canvas or need to reevaluate, it's time to reflect and get clear. So this is why you're being called to kind of pull yourself offline, pull yourself into yourself, because you need to get clear. You do not have a clear vision for yourself right now. I get the feeling that you don't even know what you value right now. Like there is a lot that is up for question, and Spirit is telling you you need to pull yourself back for yourself. Then we have Channel, which says, woven into the unseen are energetic channels pulsing all around us. They roll like waves, each one a chamber to a new reality. It's up to us to decide which door we want to open. Sometimes you may feel that the doors you want are too far away, but you can try the nearest one. When we shift our state of being by 1 degree, there it is, we're talking about that 1 degree again, moment to moment or day to day, we are inching closer to the reality we want to live in. Start exactly where you are. Take an honest inventory of what channel you are on. Are you entrenched in fear? Are you skeptical? Are you feeling open? Channel is not just an invitation, but a demand. It demands that you see your power. You are entirely capable of getting to where you want to be. Start exactly where you are and then shift the channel. Little by little, let yourself stretch. Stretch out. Find the edges of your comfort zone, the place where you meet some resistance and feel yourself doubting. If you're stuck in fear, maybe say, I am safe. Feels jarring, but I am open to feeling safe is both a challenge and a balm. This is not a momentary band-aid. This is a practice, one we must commit to continuously. Try finding enjoyment in catching yourself when you slip back to the old dead channels. You may have to filter out people, places, and things that hold your old energy. Do not fear this transformation. Call upon the element of fire to aid you as you burn away what doesn't serve to make space for new. Continue to unashamedly reach for the channels that you have yet to unlock, but will offer new, more joyful experiences. So literally, you're being asked to make big shifts in your life. And it's not going to come easily, friends. I want to reassure you that it is possible that you can shift your energy. You can make a shift for yourself. If you are even in a moment of doubting yourself right now, please listen to me. Please know that again, I'm not trying to sell you on going to listen to my podcast. I just keep mentioning it because if this is you, I feel like you would genuinely benefit from some of those episodes. I have a podcast called Divine Authenticity that in season 2, we covered, I'm on season 3 of it now. In season 2, we covered a lot of mental health and spirituality because I went through my own mental health crisis. It has been almost a year, and this reading is like making my heart bleed, not for myself, but for y'all, because I know what that feels like to feel very stuck. Like you can't change this situation. You feel mentally in turmoil. And it has taken me a year to climb out of that hole. And I just want you to know, if that's what you need to hear as somebody that is living, breathing proof that you can move forward. Like you can get better. You can make changes that will impact you deeply, but you have to commit to yourself again. And it can just be making one small daily choice every day. Recently on my Instagram, I've started sharing with y'all morning practices that I've been doing for, I think we're on day like 2 or 3 of 7 that I've been sharing. And just reminding you that keeping small promises to yourself are so important, because sometimes when you're in this spiral, you think that you are incapable of making any change. It can get that bad. And you have to start proving to yourself in safe ways that you can. And it grows over time. It is a practice that you have to continue with. And I feel like all of these cards are telling you that, with some little magic extras, of course, but you can change. You don't have to sit in this energy. You don't have to hurt for the rest of your life. And I also want you to know that if you're listening to this and you're struggling, I'm so grateful that you're still here. Thank you for continuing to fight and continuing to be who you are, because the world needs that special version of you that only you can bring, because you are unique. And please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I also want to remind those of you that if you would like to speak to a psychic over on Keen, please use my link, trykeen.com/KhloeTarot for your first 10 minutes for $1.99. Thank you again to Keen for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to support me as a creator, I certainly appreciate it. I have my Patreon, where I put out early access to my readings, weekly energy updates with tarot, exclusive pick-a-cards that you will not get anywhere else. And this past month, we have started a book club on the Patreon where we're reading books as a group. This month, we're doing a psychological styled book. Next month, I think we're going to do more of a poetry styled book, or like a short form book. I'm very excited. So definitely come and join us. I would love to have you in the community. That community means so much to me, and it genuinely supports me to keep doing what I do here. And if you would like to support me in other ways, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below. I do accept tips for my readings. They are not expected, but always appreciated. I also have my wish list listed down below. And my birthday is coming up, for those of y'all that have been asking me. It's on Saturday, May 14th. I turned 31. Again, zero pressure, just for those of you that have been asking. That is linked down below. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. I wish you nothing but the best, and I'll talk to you again next time. Hello there, pile number 3, and welcome to your urgent message from Spirit. We're going to start with the Pastel Journey Tarot. And mind you, this is your reading if you chose the yellow rose, which we have here for you. But we're first going to use the Pastel Journey Tarot, and then we will use some oracle cards from Threads of Fate. And we also have the Black Moon Astrology Oracle here. But we're just going to give these a very nice shuffle. I freaking love these cards. Y'all already know, if you're on my Patreon, that we use this deck all the time. Like, probably one of my most prized decks. Vanessa Samina killed it with this deck in the best way. Of course, any decks I use will be linked down below for you as well. All right, we're just going to draw straight from the top. We'll start with 3 and add more if we need them. So, starting out right out the gate here, we have for you the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords card, let's actually bring this up even closer still. The Knight of Swords card tells me that you are in a place right now where you might have some really amazing ideas. Spirit is saying that it's very important for you to act on these ideas, that you need to push forward. You might find that you have a ton of energy right now. And if not, this is what is going to be happening very soon. You're going to get like a lot of energy, a big boost of energy that is coming. And this could be maybe with the eclipse coming up, maybe it's highlighting something for you specifically. Of course, this reading is timeless. So if you're not listening to this as it comes out during eclipse season, it might just be something transiting in your chart that is giving you a boost of mental clarity. You're like having a mental breakthrough is what I'm hearing. And you also have the Six of Pentacles, which tells me that you're also in a place where energy that you're putting out, you're finally getting energy coming back. It's basically just you're getting like into the divine balance and flow of abundance energy. We also have for you the Four of Wands. Man, your reading, I think out of everybody so far, is like the most positive. Not that anybody's reading was bad or anything, but you just have so many like light energy cards. The Four of Wands is like cute shit. It's very, as Marin Altman would say, it's very cute shit. It's very celebratory energy, celebrating your home, celebrating the people with you. You might even be having a party or attending a wedding, or it could also be your own wedding that's coming up. But there's definitely something about like your home, the structure of your home. Maybe you're celebrating a new move. There's definitely something to celebrate. I'm also wondering if the Six of Pentacles, because we see this balancing scale here, this could also indicate that you're signing some kind of contract now. Now, I will tell you, if you're listening to this as it is going live, we are in the Mercury shadow period, Mercury retrograde shadow period. Mercury might even be retrograde by the time this video gets posted, depending on when it gets approved from our beautiful sponsor, Keen. But I want to say Mercury stations retrograde on the 10th of May. So just doesn't mean you can't sign contracts. It just means that you need to make sure you double and triple check them, because life still moves forward during retrogrades. You're not supposed to just put your life on hold. You just need to be very mindful. Expect delays, basically. So let's go ahead and keep taking a peek at all of these cards. We're going to grab a couple more, I think, from the pile. So we also have for you, we also have for you the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is somebody that she is very in touch with her intuition and her emotions, and this really serves her. So as you move forward on new ideas, Spirit is also saying to pay homage to your intuition, pay homage to your emotions. Don't shut your emotional side down, even though you might feel like you want to. Spirit is saying that your intuition is also really on point right now. You are getting a lot of intuitive hits. Maybe your dreams are feeling very, potent and full of messages. Something that I really like to do is before I go to sleep at night, I will tell my spiritual team, like, I really want to receive a gift in my dreams tonight. I want to say I got that from Leora Alexandra talks about that. I want to receive a gift in my dreams tonight. And then when you wake up, like, have your journal at the ready, because oftentimes some of the most beautiful gifts will come through that. Then we also have for you the Princess of Swords. So you got the Knight of Swords and the Princess, which is basically the same as the Page of Swords. So Spirit is saying you really are having some kind of a breakthrough right now, some kind of mental breakthrough. A new idea is coming. And again, during a Mercury retrograde, make sure you just really think things over before taking any action. But Spirit is saying that this breakthrough has been a long time in coming, and it might come by way of dream or by way of vision. And it's something that is going to deeply impact the course of your life right now, especially as we're in the middle of eclipse season. But I think it's something that it's going to shift the way that you have been thinking about things, so much so that you're actually going to be able to connect with joy, with happiness, with success and celebration, which, especially those of you that you have a really hard time when something good happens to you, believing that something can just be good. And Spirit is saying, like, not only are you going to have this breakthrough, but your heart is going to be expanding. You're going to be feeling like so much lighter. You're getting like lighter energy, and you're going to be feeling maybe a little restless. I won't lie to you. I'm definitely hearing directly from Spirit. I heard the word restless. So you may find that you're wanting to make a lot of moves right now, do more. That's just like the energy that I feel like, oh my gosh, absolutely. I just started pulling astrology cards. Holy crap. So for the astrology cards, I was like, you're going to be feeling restless. And then look at these. Look at these, fam. Not only did you get the fire element of desire, you also got Mars force. So fire element desire, this is about creativity, honing your creativity. The fire signs in the zodiac or in astrology are Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. So that is going to be your childlike play and creativity, your knowledge, intellect, and optimism, as well as your physical appearance, your physical vessel. This is why you might be feeling restless, because all of those fire elements in astrology represent those key themes and concepts. So if you have this showing up for you, you might have a lot of dominant fire placements in your birth chart as well. Which I do offer birth charts on my websites. I don't know when I'm going to be restocking again, because it is my birth month this month, or my birthday month. And I'm a Taurus. We do nothing but celebrate the entire month of May. If you've ever met a Taurus, you understand. So I don't know when I'll be restocking. There might be a mini restock when this video goes out. I'm potentially considering it, doing a few readings before vacation for me. But, just keep your eyes on that. If that's something you've been wanting, is a birth chart reading, I do offer those on my website. I will never solicit you for a reading. You can only book through my website, just so you know. But we also have Mars force. And with Mars force, this literally is that restless energy. Now, I do want you to know that we will have... Where is Mars right now? I want to say... Is Mars moving into its home sign of Aries? Unfortunately, I can't tell you right now, because I don't keep my phone in my room when I'm working on readings. It's too distracting for me. But I know that we will have Jupiter moving into Aries. Possibly it might even be today when this reading goes up. And we also have Venus moving into Aries until the end of the month. So we are getting a lot of this Mars-like energy, because Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, and it is this very like forward motion. So when we have a lot of planets there, it can be a really good fun time depending on what your birth chart is like, but it often brings with it this very restless energy. I honestly think those of you that are super into astrology, with Mercury retrograde right now, I don't think this retrograde is going to be as crazy as it normally is. Don't get me wrong. We're still going to want to take things slow, make sure that we're double, triple checking everything. But Mercury is going to go retrograde in its home sign of Gemini. So I don't think it's going to be as crazy as some of the other ones we've experienced. And then you also have second house owning. Now we are in Taurus season, which is the second house ruler. And this deals with our finances, our currency. This also owning. I'm wondering if some of y'all are going to get into owning a home soon, because maybe that's like your dream and Spirit is just trying to confirm it to you. I say that because you also have that Four of Wands, which is about possibly home ownership. That comes up with the Four of Wands. And then you have this card of owning. And we were also talking about contracts a little bit. So if any of y'all have been looking for a sign about getting a home that maybe you've put an offer in on, Spirit is reminding you that all is well. Like, let things settle, let the dust settle. All is well. You're going to be receiving what you put out there to receive. You just need to give it a little more time. You might be feeling really in your head and restless about it and wanting to like force things to happen because it's something you really truly desire in your heart. But let your desire be the thing that brings this to you. Spirit is ultimately saying that you need to, actually, I don't think Spirit is telling you to relax. They're just saying to trust your intuition and trust yourself. Like, none of these cards here to me are telling me that you need to relax. Everything here is saying that everything is going in an equal exchange of energy, and just make sure you're taking care of yourself. If you're feeling really restless, try to move that energy through your body. You know, go for a walk, go for a swim, do something that gets you into your body and moving that energy, because it can be hard to work with if you're feeling some type of way. But ultimately, I don't really think Spirit's telling you to slow down. Then we have for you a couple of oracle cards. Oh my gosh, what did I just say to you? Oh, you literally got the trust card. We have a couple cards from Threads of Fate, the Lumen edition. Of course, I always link all the cards I use down below. We have trust. Literally, this could not be any more of a clear sign. The universe is literally saying to you, you need to trust that you are emerging. You are doing a good job. You've done all that you can do. You've put your desire and your intention into things. You need to let it alone and just trust that what you've put out there is coming back to you. And then we also have take risk, which is funny because I think we had a pick a card recently, like maybe a few weeks ago, where this card came out. It might have even been for the May predictions that I put out. One of y'all got the take risk card. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Sagittarius placements. Don't quote me on that. I don't recall exactly. But this is all about letting yourself take a little bit of risk. So maybe you need to book a vacation. I mean, those sword cards also talk about like travel, short-term travel. Now, of course, again, I want to make that very clear. During a Mercury retrograde, you just need to be a little bit more careful, but it doesn't mean that you can't travel. People travel during Mercury retrograde all the time. But this is about kind of getting just beyond your comfort zone. It doesn't mean you have to leap out into the great unknown. You can even just get a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And Spirit is saying that you will be greatly blessed by doing this. You need to leap a little and just trust. And I get the feeling that trust is something that is really hard for you, be it from people or from Spirit. But in order to start trusting in the unknown, you have to be willing to put yourself out there a little bit. And the last couple of cards I have for you, pile number 3, are these beautiful cards from Threads of Fate as well. The ones that change. Y'all always ask me about these when I show them to you because they are so freaking cool. You got the card Haze, which looks like this one. And you also got Oblivion. And I'm going to read these directly from the book because I just think that the descriptions of these cards are so beautiful that I prefer to read them this way. But Haze says, like being backed into a corner, being chewed at and feeling like you have nowhere to go, the haze can be all-encompassing. It's waking up feeling mangled, flayed open, but not knowing how it happened or how to put a stop to it. The darkness can feel overwhelming and confusing, leaving us blind, grasping for straws. The danger of the space is that our mind can dig the hole deeper and deeper without us realizing. The pathways in our brain get stronger and stronger the more we walk them. When we are continually searching, trying to figure it out or get out of it, that path becomes the default. Powerlessness becomes our primary state of being, and soon we are race car looping around the same track, careening out of control despite trying to get better. The key is in slowing down, letting the alarms ring out in your head, but not rushing to them. Before we can move forward, we have to meet ourselves where we are. We must accept it and let ourselves hit the bottom we are trying to avoid. Because the haze will bring you to your knees over and over again, begging for relief. But until we stop fighting, we won't find it. But when we lay down our swords, when we quiet the desperation in our gut, we can build our staircase. Ironically, it's when we say enough that our fight truly begins. We can then climb step by step, thought by thought, until our heads are peaking above the haze. So I feel like for you, this maybe is where you've been. And Spirit is saying you need to trust, take a risk, let your desire be the fuel, and allow yourself to peek over the edge, to peek over the top, to have more trust that things will change and get better for you. Then we also have the card of Oblivion. And this card says that the price of refusing to see can be steep. We end up living in a house made of matches. Our minds become combustible and fragile. Oblivion asks you to look now before it's too late. Whatever you've been skirting things under the rug or pushing off to the next day, it's time to confront. The oblivion is often laced with ego, the areas in your life where you have told yourself that you are in the right, everyone else is wrong. Where we think we are better and more evolved than others, but really we are all human. No person will ever be perfect or have it all together. When we stay in the oblivion, it is typically coming from a place of deep insecurity. We make band-aids out of our progress. I manifested this, so it means I've worked through the old pattern. Our brain simplifies the work, so we don't have to accept the fact that we will never get there, the place where we have nothing left to work on. But if you can accept that you will never arrive, it releases the pressure you're living within, creating an escape from the oblivion. Is this a large pattern for you? Or maybe you just have a single black hole you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, now is the time to explore it. So I'm really curious because I feel like these last two cards that you received really speak more to being trapped or feeling stuck or feeling trapped. But your whole reading to me really talks more about leaving that space. So I feel like you're being given a way out through this reading, but you're also being told that there is a potential you will stay right where you are if you do not try. So Spirit really does want better for you. I feel like that's why you were led to this reading. And you are meant to move forward. You are meant to reconnect with your desire, reconnect with yourself, and have what it is that you desire. And granted, I know the housing thing was probably a specific message for a singular person, but I also feel like with the sword cards, that could be you also fighting your own mental battle. And Spirit is saying you're having the breakthrough. It's changing for you, but you need to allow the change to happen and trust that it can. Because you can always go back into the haze or the oblivion, but you don't have to. You are the person that is in control of that. You are not basically enslaved to your mind. You are allowed to think new thoughts and breathe new life into yourself. And honestly, I hear that from Spirit, like it's only up from here. And that doesn't mean that you won't go forward and go back and go forward and go back. Like sometimes that happens for a while, but ultimately you are starting to see through everything. And let that be a marker of hope for you. So thank you so very much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Please do not forget to check out that link for Keen down below, trykeen.com/KhloeTarot for your first 10 minutes for a $1.99. I love working with Keen. They really are fantastic. Definitely give them a try. If you would like to support me as a creator, I do have my Patreon available to you where I put out readings early, as well as weekly energy readings in the form of tarot readings for the collective. We also do exclusive pick-a-cards over there. I live stream periodically. We recently started a book club on the Patreon. We've been having a really great time. I would love to have you as part of that community if you would like to join. The book we're reading this month too, I feel like if you want to join and read that book, you definitely still have time. It's a shorter book, so if you want to join for this month's book club, you definitely still can. And if you would like to support me in other ways, I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below where you can tip me for my readings if they touched you. Obviously, no expectations there, but obviously always appreciated. And I also have my wish list down there if you would like to send me a gift. I would certainly appreciate it. But again, no pressure. And thank you again so much for tuning in. Thank you to Keen for sponsoring this video. And I will talk to you all in the next one. I love you, pumpkin.